from Pink and Maine. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be making some fun cards with the Just Ducky stamp and dies. Let's jump right in and start making our first card. I am using pattern papers from our garden paper pack. So I've also grabbed the In the Garden glitter enamel dots because they match perfectly with that paper pack. And I always love to add a little bit of something sparkly and shiny to finish off our cards. I have an A2 sized craft card. I'm using some craft cardstock. It's nice brown. And it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. With our layered rectangle dies for the A2 size cards, I have cut out some different little panels here that we're going to layer together to create our card front. I have white and this hexagon pattern from the paper pack, and then I have another piece of white to layer behind this yellow polka dot. So let's glue these to the card. I'm using the Pink and Maine Easy Squeeze craft glue. I love how when I put some on, I have a few seconds to adjust my paper just to where I want it to be before it grabs hold and sticks. Here's our card front. With our stitch circle dies, I've cut out a circle from that craft cardstock, and I'm just going to glue that down to the card. I've colored this fun little guy here, and we're going to adhere him down to that craft stitch circle. And I've stamped the sentiment, "What'll I do without you?" In the coordinating dies for the Just Ducky stamp set. I've included some little strips that will cut the sentiments out. And it cuts them with this nice fun little rounded edge. So be sure to use that with some of your other sentiments as well. It's a nice little fun different shape. I decided to add some foam adhesive to the back of our little duck friend to pop him off the card a little bit for some added dimension. This card is super simple, but it comes out super cute. Look at that little guy. Now I'm just going to add some of our glitter dots to finish it off. And there's our finished card. I think it came out super sweet. Our next card is an A2 size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. I'm using white cardstock as our base. It's another super simple card, but they come together so nicely. I love to use pattern papers when you need something simple and quick, but gives a nice impact and makes a really nice finished looking card. For our card layer, I have taken a piece of craft cardstock. I've embossed it with our wood grain embossing folder. So it gives this really cool wood grain look to the card. Now I accidentally tore this paper as I was pulling it out of the embossing folder. You want to be careful when you're doing that because it gives super deep etched lines. I actually ripped it out too quick and I tore it, but you're not even going to notice when I glue this down to the card base. So here's our card front. With that wood grain embossing folder, you can use either side of the paper that you like best, the debossed or the embossed side. I've cut 2 strips of paper. The green I cut 1 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches, and the pattern paper I've cut 1 inch by 5 1/4 inches because I want it to fit on our wood grain piece, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that gives a nice little white border around it on our card front. I tend to use a lot of circles on my cards to highlight my critters or characters or whatever I'm trying to focus on my card front, but I thought I'd try something a little different for this one. And I cut out with our stitch squares this blue piece of pattern paper, and with our scallop square dies, I've cut out a white sheet of cardstock. Just going to layer these together, and this is going to be a nice little highlight spot for our duck. I've stamped the sentiment from the stamp set, "I hope your day is just Ducky." And again, I've used those little sentiment strips that are in the coordinating dies for this stamp set to cut out the sentiment. There, it lays over my square piece just a little bit, but I love that because it's pulling all the elements together. I've added my sweet little duckling to the square, and it makes an adorable little card. I love the wood grain in the background for the added little texture look to it. And I've colored my ducks like little mallard ducks, but you can color your ducks whatever colors you want. There's a multitude of colors of real ducks out there, and you can have fun with your colors. I'm just going to add a couple of glitter enamel dots to finish this off. There's our finished card. I love how super simple that came together, but it really is a nice, cute card. For our next card, we're going to make a little bit of a fun fold card. This is an A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've taken the front of the card base and I have folded that front piece back in half. So it opens a little bit like an accordion here. On the inside of the card, I'm going to put a nice white layer, just so I have a nice white base to write a message. For the front of the card, I have cut a stitched rectangle from our stitched rectangle dies. This panel is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I've taken our new Ducky cover die and I've used the polka dot section that's in the center, and I just run it through and it cuts out all these polka dot pattern. So you can use it with the scallop frame that it comes with, or you can use it with any other die that you have. So it works well with this stitched rectangle die. So I'm going to glue that to the front of the card, but I just want to glue it to this brown or craft piece over here so that it will open up like so. So I just want to judge how far over I should put my glue. And here's the front of our card. I think it's fun how you see the craft paper on this side, you see the white paper on this side through those polka dots. It just creates a really fun look. I've got a couple other elements to add to the front of the card. I have a stitch circle, and that's where we're going to highlight our little duck friend. And then I've cut a couple strips of paper. I have a 1 1/2 inch by 4 piece of white cardstock. I have a 1 1/4 inch piece of this plaid paper. I really like that from the paper pad. And then from our Ducky cover die, I've taken the scalloped frame part and I've just cut the edge of that off. So it has the little stitching line across it, and it's just going to go across this plaid paper really nice to kind of give it off a fun little finished look. So let's glue these down to the front of the card. And before I glue this part down, I want to cover part of the circle so it's just popping up there. So I'm just going to figure out my placement and then glue it down. And there we have our card front. I love the look of that plaid with the polka dots behind it, and that little scallop piece just adds just enough extra detail to the card. I added the duck and the sentiment, "You quack me up," a couple little glitter enamel dots, and there's our finished fun fold card. Isn't that sweet? And it went together so easily. For our last card, we're going to do something fun and different. I am using our holiday scene die to create our card base. It's a big, huge die that comes with this diorama type card base. So I've cut the base of it out of white, and I've folded it on the score lines that the die will place for you. And then I'm just gonna simply put the box together. I do have a separate video on our YouTube channel that you can see where I give more details about putting the holiday scene die together. And the die includes a lot of layering pieces so that you can decorate your card base nicely. I've cut out a blue piece of cardstock to go on the very back. And all I've done is I've taken our cloud stencil and just with some blue ink, I just quickly stenciled in a little row of clouds. So it looks like the sky back there. If I turned it upside down, those clouds become like waves in water. So it's a really good, versatile stencil. I'm also going to add some layering pieces to decorate the outside. It comes with these side pieces that go on the sides here. So here we have the base together. You can see how just simple and easy that was to put together. And we have our layering pieces on the outside to decorate it. The two layering pieces that go on the inside of the diorama, they each have a different wave pattern, and you score them, fold them on the score lines for these little flaps, and you glue them to the sides. So I'll go ahead and do that. So here is our diorama card base. It's so super cute. And even though this is called the holiday scene die, because it comes with some Christmas or holiday themed dies to go along with it to create like a winter scene, you can use the card base for anything that you want to create a scene with different characters. You want to use a strong adhesive when putting this together, because when this card is folded flat, and you can fold it either way, this side or that side, when it's folded flat, it fits perfectly into an A2 size envelope. But when you open it up and it stands up, it creates this fun diorama type scene. So I've got my different ducks cut out, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to place them on the card. So I'm just going to kind of play around with the placement and see what I like, but I've got plenty of little ducks to choose from. I've also got some extra little cattails, is what we used to call them when I was growing up. There you can see how I've layered the ducks on the different sections of the card, and it makes for this really cute dimensional scene. I've used the sentiment back here, "You lucky duck," and "congrats." And now I think I'll just add a few of those cattails to add a little bit more dimension to the card. And here's our final card. I think that came out super cute. I can't wait to give this to someone. But like I said, when it folds flat, it fits perfectly in an A2 size envelope. You can see how you can take this holiday scene die and use it for any occasion with any type of critters or characters and make an adorable little scene. Be sure to add stuff to the back of each piece as well as the front, just to give different layers of dimension to the card. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these cards that we've created with the Just Ducky stamp and coordinating dies. You can find these and more at pinkandmain.com or ask your local retailer. Until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.